Medicare. Who thinks that Medicare will pay for the nursing home stay? No, that's right. You're all shaking your heads. That's correct. Medicare will pay for, typically, if we had 3 nights in a hospital, some rehab after that, say 20 or 30 days in a rehab center, Medicare will pay for that. Legally, they're required to pay up to 100 days, but we rarely see that. 20 or 30 days is more typical. And then if the person's having therapy, the therapist will say, sorry, you're no longer showing improvement, and so Medicare will say, okay, no improvement, no more funds. So, same with the Medicare supplement, of course, that, as you know, only supplements the Medicare that you're already receiving. What about veterans? Are there veterans here today? Any of you folks veterans? Great. Well, we'll talk about veterans benefits, because that's definitely a good possibility for veterans and widows of veterans. What about your health insurance? Anthem, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, will that pay for the nursing home? No, that's right. HMOs, regular health insurance won't pay for a long-term nursing home stay, a long custodial stay. So basically it comes down to us. It comes down to you and your family. And there's really only 2 choices: private pay, including long-term care insurance, which we'll talk about. Yes, sir?
Yeah, that's just what I was going to mention. You know, if you have long-term care insurance.
Right.
Private insurance, though.
Yes. Not regular health insurance, but long-term care insurance will pay for a period of time depending on the terms of the policy. And that can be extremely useful. We'll talk about that. But if you have no insurance and you're out of money, then we're looking at a government program, an entitlement program, if you will, like Medicaid, or if you're a veteran, potentially some VA benefits, which we'll talk about. Yes, sir?
Can you define veteran? I mean, there was a time in life when we all served 2 years.
Right. I will. If you don't mind holding that question, I'll define veteran, and we'll talk about that in a few slides. So basically, as I say, it comes down to either spending your own assets, or if you're fortunate enough, if you planned ahead and you already have the long-term care insurance, then that is a possibility too. In the interest of time, I'm going to skip over or just go to the last slide on this. You've heard about the healthcare reform. I'm sure that was in the news several months ago. It's still in the news, different proposals. And there are some proposals, well, there are laws out there now to increase health insurance coverage for the underinsured, folks that have no insurance or are underinsured now. And there are some proposals to fill the Medicare gap, the prescription drug gap, where Medicare doesn't pay for all your prescriptions through the end of the year. But here's the bottom line. What the new laws say is that there will actually be a 500 million cut, 500 billion, excuse me, billion with a B, 500 billion cut in Medicare over the next 10 years. The government's realizing, even the politicians are realizing finally that we can't just keep spending when the money isn't there to pay for it. So these cuts are coming without a doubt. So really, regardless of which law that's passed in the last year or so that you look at, or regardless of what reforms you look at, the bottom line is when it comes to long-term care expenses, it's really down to us. And I think the government is going to necessarily be there for us to the extent that they are now. So it's up to us to protect ourselves and our family. So let's talk a little bit about long-term care insurance. What's that all about? Well, if you're a homeowner, you wouldn't think of owning a home and not having insurance. Earthquakes, hurricanes, especially lately. And the bank won't lend you the money unless you have insurance on the house, because the bank understands if something happens to you, that insurance is the only way the mortgage is going to get paid. The insurance transfers the risk from you to the insurance company and can give you peace of mind. That's one less thing to worry about. And insurance policies have changed a lot recently, particularly in the last 10 to 15 years. There are different combinations of insurance that you can have. Virginia and many other states now have what they call a partnership policy. And the idea of it's basically a partner, it's through an insurance company, but it's basically a partnership with the state, because the state knows ultimately if you don't have insurance, that the Commonwealth of Virginia, and as well as the federal government, they're going to be the one footing the bill. So the idea of the partnership policy is Virginia says, okay, you take out $300,000 worth of long-term care insurance, and you can protect $300,000 of your assets. So that can be your home or savings. That's $300,000 that you don't have to spend down to qualify for Medicaid. So the insurance can be very useful there. Typically, policies now come with inflation protection. So let's say you purchase a policy with $150 or $200 a day. That's usually how the policies work. It's a daily benefit. And obviously, $150 a day is not going to be worth $150 a day 10 years from now. So that's the inflation protection. And unlike Medicaid, which is primarily geared towards a nursing home, the insurance policy is more flexible. So you can use it for home health care, for someone to come into the home, for adult daycare, for Java or a center like that for a few hours a day, so that the caregiver can get a break. So more flexibility there, when you use it, where you use it, and for how long. There's a catch though. The problem is you have to be able to qualify for it. And for different reasons, either because of age or ill health, especially dementia. Many people come to see me. I work closely with the local Alzheimer's Association. They refer folks to us. And many times people will come and see us, say a couple will come and see us because one of the spouses has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So it's too late then to get the insurance. Once there's any mention of dementia in the medical records, the insurance company is not going to want to insure you. So we'll talk about some other alternatives to that if insurance is unavailable to you. Okay, so